Hi, everyone. Um, Today we are speaking to Annemarie Stuurman, um, and this is in respect to International Wheelchair Day that will be on the 1st of March. Um, so I didn't even know there's an International Wheelchair Day. Wonder
Yeah,
if
me neither.
I wonder if there is an International Crutch Day. Um,
Walk today.
yeah. Um, Annemarie sent me a biography, and it's a quite a long one, so I'm just going to give a few highlights. She served in the South African Defence Force in the 80s. She was also married in the 80s. She has two children. She loves sport, baking, cooking. She's involved or was involved with parent school associations a lot, and um, she also is involved with the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation of South Africa in the Cape. Um, all in all, she lives a very, very active life, an active lifestyle. But Annemarie, welcome. Thank you for giving us your time today.
Thank
Uh,
you.
I know it's
Thank you for
difficult.
having me.
It's difficult with load shedding and all of these things. We have to get our schedules together. This meeting almost didn't happen because
Mm.
when we have load shedding in our area, it's 12 hours sometimes. But
Ooh, flip.
but Annemarie, we're going to speak mostly about wheelchairs, but I do think you need to give us a little bit of background in terms of what you are living with and what disease you are living with, and just briefly how it affects your life before we begin with the wheelchairs and the ideas that we can come up in terms of that.
Okay, thanks a lot. It's lovely being here and talking to you. Um, I am actually sitting on the fence because one foot's on the walker and the other foot is on the wheelchair. So I actually use the wheelchair only when I move out into public and stuff like that. It's just I walk just too slowly and it's too difficult. But in my flat, I still do sort of everything. But people come and clean once a week. I can't bend so like anymore because if I don't get up in 4 seconds, then I can't get up. So it's lots of things are funny, and we make jokes about it and we laugh. But it comes to a stage where you realize the seriousness of it, and that's when it really starts catching you. When you realize I need someone to help me. Sometimes maybe once or not even twice, once a year, I'll have my day. I'll close the doors, put everything off, and really sulk and just cry and shout and do what I want. But one day is enough for me. Um, I'm a very, very positive person. I was diagnosed in 91, and so it just deteriorated because I was very heavy into sport, modern dancing, karate, all those nice things. And then it started going onto the walker, and I only started using the wheelchair after I've moved in here. So we'll say about 2016 or 17. Yeah, so the wheelchair, yeah, that's how I've started into the wheelchair. But like I say, I still use my walker inside the flat. I'm going to try and speak in shorthand because it's load shedding 2 o'clock past again.
Of course, of course. You spoke about that one day when you realize you know you need assistance now. When do you think? I mean, we all have it. I've been in a wheelchair since 2005. So when, in your view, do you think you would know that it's time to now transition to a wheelchair?
Yeah. That was my question to one of our counselors here quite a few years ago. Like, how do I know I'm going to need a wheelchair now? She said to me that, like, you can test yourself when you sitting down, like your legs can't hold you long. So you're sitting more hours in a day than standing or walking. That is a sign you need the wheelchair. The wheelchair, the walker, even a crutch. Sorry to say this, but men and their ego is difficult, more difficult accepting these anyway. So yeah, she said when you sit more than what you stand. And another thing is to get people, it's a mind switch. You really, the wheelchair was standing here about 6 months wrapped in plastic, and I just checked it out like this, getting used to it in the mind. And then eventually one night, we had a big braai out here on the sun deck by me. And I said to my daughter, "Oh, I would love a little glass of red wine." Alcohol is a no-go by me. I can't. It takes like 2 days to get it out of my system, and it's dangerous for me. So I said to her, "Oh, I would love something." She said, "Oh, Ma, the wheelchair in the passage." I said, "Yes, now it's coming out of the plastic." So I had my glass of wine, and they wheelied me in, and I thought, "Yo, this is quite nice." So now wheelie stays in the car for whenever we go out. It is so much less stress on the body. And you talk to so many people. It is just a blessing. I'm sorry to say it. It is. So because I just love talking, people come up to me and give me hugs, and we start chatting. It's just amazing.
Yeah,
It's like save your strength for somewhere else.
it does take the stress out of it in social
Yeah,
situations, doesn't it?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
I realized that, and I remember when I didn't want to get into the wheelchair. We once went on holiday, and I sat in the holiday house for a whole week, only looking at the sea, only looking at the sea. I didn't go out, and so
Mm,
if I can go back now to my younger self,
mm,
I would really have a few harsh words to say
mm.
to that younger self, my 20s or
Okay.
whatever, that just didn't want to
Mhm,
go out and didn't want to get into a wheelchair. But now I have
mm,
so many wheelchairs that I use for different situations. But
mm,
Anna Marie, what the biggest thing is, and I get many people who contact me, uh, even if it's just for temporary use, where do I get a wheelchair? Where do I start looking? That moment when okay, now you can't just go to the nearest Pick n Pay and get a
no,
wheelchair. And I think
no,
that's something that someone, or the nearest Dis-Chem, and that is
no.
what that is what when I was younger, that I thought, okay, well, I can just go and buy one quickly. But there's this thing about these wheelchairs are being imported from overseas mostly. And so where do you go? Where do you start? Where do you start looking?
Mm. Mm. What I did was I went out and really made a note of all the I don't know if I'm allowed to say business names on the air, but anyway, I'm not advertising them. Mobile Direct and CE Mobility and Mobility this and Mobility that. And there's lots of very big chemists that also have a department of um, help things that you can use for disability. And so there's one or two. If you can get the cheapest one that suits you, stick to it, because the people get to know you, and eventually they really, and that's what happened to me, they really there to help you. And it's not always about the funding. One of the wheels on my wheelchair, my ears are incredibly sensitive. It's actually classed as supersonic hearing. It's funny, but it's not always funny. But in any case, so I was hearing this cheat, cheat, cheat the whole time. And I went back to the guy where I always go to the shop. And he said to me, "Do you know the last people put on the wrong tire?" And I looked at the tread of the wheel, and it was wrong. And he just went and put on a new one, Clark, because they know me now already. So that was so awesome, and that's also quite expensive these days. So what you can do is, you don't walk into a shoe shop like Shoes For You, whatever, and go and say, "Can I have a number 3 just because I like it?" It's not going to fit you. So that's the same with the wheelchair. It's like they have to do it customized, you in the wheelchair. Otherwise, I know some people, no names mentioned, that really look top heavy in this little wheelchair. It's like someone said, "Here's a wheelchair, man, use it then." This guy looks very weird in it. But in any case, Sometimes people can't afford a wheelchair, and that is the biggest problem. And then they come up like, hello, we have one standing here, use that one. It's not to say it's going to help you. It might hurt you, it might this and it might that. So the best thing is to go to a place and let them speak to you. What do you need this for? Do you need it to go bundu bashing the whole time and off-road and on the beach and whatever? Or are you in a center most of the time? Are you going to use it? What are you going to use it for? And how many hours are you going to spend in this thing? Because
Yeah.
you need the right cushion. Otherwise, you might bug up your back in the end. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
there's a
issues.
few good points you made there. I mean, I think the best way that I've learned about service providers is by word of mouth and by other persons telling me about it, other persons who are going through it, as well as organizations like the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation of South Africa. They can put you in touch with people who are in wheelchairs who have muscular dystrophy, and then you can choose because there are quite a few different, as you said, different service providers. The important thing that I found was through all these years is to find one that has longevity. In other words, find one that you know will be around for a long time. Because when you buy some of these very expensive wheelchairs, you don't want to buy a wheelchair and then that service provider will no longer be there after 5 years because it's very expensive. And medical aids, that's the other thing I want to ask you about is the prices of these things. My experience, the prices are extremely expensive because they are imported, and medical aids don't pay the full amount. They only pay a small portion, especially if you are looking at electric wheelchairs. So, what is your view on the prices of these wheelchairs, and what can we do to help persons with disabilities to afford them? You know, it's a
Yeah.
difficult.
It is the most difficult. And even the parts for it, the wheels, the electric ones, the batteries, the whole lot is expensive. One day we had to introduce ourselves at a meeting, and I said, I have FSH, and someone asked, what does it stand for? I said, facioscapulohumeral dystrophy. And this woman said, wow, are you going to die of it? I said, no. And then she said, I said, but you know, people only very intelligent and very rich people will get dystrophy because the names are so long and sometimes you can't even announce it or whatever, and the prices of the stuff. So we had a meeting yesterday, and we decided to apply for 2 wheelchairs which are electric and which are like top of the range. They're going in the 90,000. I mean, what child? It's so awesome for children and that, but who is going to afford this? You
Yeah.
cannot. And the thing is, we decided rather go back to your stronger make and more stable, and you know, and a much less price. Because one of the children apparently had one of these top of the range. Within 6 months, this whole thing was, I don't know if the whole family was traveling to the center with this thing or, you know, misusing it, like chasing each other in the streets and that. Um, so I don't know. We decided going back to basics, and the more sturdy wheelchair. It's heavier, and I think some of them maybe can't even fold up. Although in today's life and that, I think most of them can fold up. But it's easier, it's better for a child to have that type of wheelchair than really go top to the range. They don't realize what they've
I
got.
mean, I started off with the manual wheelchairs back in 2005 that cost 10,000 Rand.
Mm, mm,
Then now, if I just have a basic manual chair that I can use at my house, it's
mm.
almost 30,000 Rand for a kind of demo model. So it's not the
Oh,
fancy type. And your electric wheelchairs are going from 50,000, 40,000 up. So sometimes you can get lucky and get something that's 30,000 or something.
no.
When you look at your more fancy names and brand names, as you said, it's from
Yeah.
50,000 up
Mm.
to 100,000, depending on what you need.
Well,
I went to my service provider one day and spent the day there, and there are actually some of these electric wheelchairs that cost 500,000 rand. Can you
no,
believe it? It's the same price
no.
as a townhouse and even more expensive. These are the kinds of things that lift you up and as propulsion systems that can
Climb tree, climb stairs.
climb stairs and
They
all that.
are.
So, I mean, we are not talking about those kinds of wheelchairs. And I struggle to find something that is locally made, very strong, and something that can. I also have to look at
Last year.
how how does it, yeah, and last year, and how does it fit into my everyday moves, my house, my car, because not all of it,
Car.
yes, and transfer wise, it's very
Mm.
specific. It's like one of my friends always says with limb girdle or any muscular dystrophy, every little movement counts. Every
Mm.
small little movement counts. And if you
Uh,
want to be
and
independent,
a centimeter can become a major problem.
that is the other thing. And not even my service provider always understands that if he
Mm-mm.
brings me another chair, I might not even be able to get off my bed on my own, just
Yeah.
because it's a little bit of slight centimeter that's
Mm.
different. I even had a
Mm.
situation where we had the exact same model, but I couldn't get off the loo with that exact same model because it's not exactly the same as my wheelchair. So,
If I've got one of the old, I was so blessed. The Lord really blessed me. I've got one of these big, the first shop riders that came out. It's massive. It's my Ferrari. So
yeah.
if I come in and I park to the left, then it feels like I can't get up to walk with a walker. Just turn it around and I'll get up. So it's like your body is um um what do you call it? Programmed to do
Yeah.
it a certain way. And now
Yes.
you go to it. That's why I don't know if you're still walking, Marinus,
No,
but
no.
if you go into a strange house, it feels like my legs don't want to move.
Yes,
It's like I can't walk.
I
It
remember
is
that.
incredible, and everybody has the same feeling.
Mm.
Yeah, so
I
there's lots
remember
of
that.
details, but we in talking about wheelchairs now, so
Yeah,
yeah.
you also mentioned something about tax benefits that would be, I
Oh,
just from, I mean, I'm extremely angry about the tax benefits because
mm,
I remember in 2005 up until a certain, I can't remember when they stopped it, but
mm,
you could
mm,
deduct in terms of Section 18 of the Income Tax Act, you could
mm,
deduct a lot of income, a lot of disability deductions. And
yeah,
what happened was, and that was 100% deduction.
yeah,
Then they changed it,
that's what we need. Mm,
33% now. So, a lot of people who were able to deduct wheelchairs when they buy them from their income tax can still do it, but they really um, slashed the what you can deduct.
mm,
And
mm,
I think you were mentioning about VAT, making it zero rated for VAT.
mm, mm,
That is a
mm.
very good
But
idea.
we need someone in Parliament. Marinus, can we start by you? We need to appoint someone for Parliament, but and not to sit and sleep, to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my suggestion is, if you have a lawyer, a friend, or in the family, or yeah, doctors and stuff like that, please ask them to sponsor you. That's the only way to go. So
Yeah, that
yeah.
is unfortunately. I mean, that is a lot of people have to go the back to body route or the what do they call the online where you
Mm,
fundraising,
mm,
the fund
mm, mm,
campaigns. That is just the only you know. I mean, in my case, I am still able to afford this because I do have um, um, not the medical aid though, but in terms of my benefits and so forth,
mm, mm.
income protection
But
benefits. But
lots
not
of
everyone can do that, and so
no.
they are left. The medical aids won't pay for that. We
Mm-hmm,
are
mm-hmm,
busy looking at uh, just from a point of view of physiotherapy at the moment, we are busy
Oh,
engaging the Registrar of Medical Schemes, and hopefully the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation of South Africa can start being part of the process of changing Annexure A of the Medical Schemes Act, where all of these PBOs, or what do you call it, the prescribed PMBs, prescribed minimum benefits are. But at the moment, the wheelchair is definitely not a prescribed minimum benefit, and I doubt whether they will ever put it there. But
as
also,
one, yeah.
also different medical aids have different ways of doing.
Views and yeah.
You know, I found that if you do physiotherapy frequently, the way in which you sit in a wheelchair is also assisted.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it, your posture.
Posture. Yeah.
Posture. So
You get so many types of cushions. There's lots of things. You must see what all she's tried. She's even now getting a chair for her. Totally different. I haven't seen it, so I can't say. But apparently it's also one of these top of the range chairs, because she is on the computer all day and then she literally cries with pain. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, that is a problem. I also, one of the reasons why I had to stop working was the fact that I was sitting all the time, and I get tired because endurance wise, my upper body gets tired. You can't talk and sit for hours and hours on end. You need to take breaks. So
and you're going to get irritated and you with pain. You can't work with people like that.
Cushions don't help. It helps up until a point. But if you push your body,
but not for 8 hours.
No.
Then
but
you know what? Yes. Do you know what I find is better than physio? Sorry to say, is the hydrotherapy. That you can't hurt anything. It is just so relaxing. But then you should also have someone to sort of help you there with the exercises.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I used to give.
You mean
I used to give
water exercise?
Water. Yes. Yeah, like I say, water aerobics. I used to give classes at the gym with the hot water on a Thursday with a heated pool. Then I can't remember. No, I never walked with the walker then. So yeah, it was amazing. I even had two ladies from England or London with one hell of an accent, which so that was gorgeous in the pool. Until the one lady, I made a joke and the one lady laughed and her teeth fell out in the pool. So she was an elderly lady, so I had to push her teeth all up like that until she could get hold of it.
Marie, there's a specific type of aerobics, water aerobics that I did on my own when I was younger. It's now a bit more difficult because I can't get in and out of my swimming pool on my own. But when I was younger, I could do that from the wheelchair, and it's called I Chi. So you can Google it, and anyone who's watching this can Google it. The Japanese swimming coach started doing this. It's like Tai Chi, where the people stand in the gardens and they make these slow movements.
It's like yoga.
Very much like yoga, but in the water. And it's just movements and breathing.
Awesome.
And I did that.
You can't fall and you can't hurt muscles.
No.
You cannot.
Yes. But the problem is you need sometimes, when you're further along the line in your progression, you'll need someone to assist you. Yeah. Otherwise, it's too dangerous.
Yeah.
In terms of safety, Anne-Marie, what do you think about, what safety tips can you give people, like ramps and wheelchairs?
Sorry about that. I've got my opinion regarding that, and I actually haven't gone to my insurance to speak to them because there's a belt. I shouldn't actually say this. I hope someone from the insurance isn't going to watch this. There's a belt hanging underneath the wheelchair. And because I can still walk and that, but if someone's going to tip me or the wheelchair hooks and it's going to shoot me out and I get hurt, I can't go and claim from insurance because I wasn't strapped in. So
I did
I
not know
wonder
that.
if we shouldn't start strapping ourselves in. Because
Sure.
there's lots of times, I've got a friend, also no names mentioned, which by his house, he's got like a number 13 shoe, and he had to push me down 3 stairs. So he tilted me, and he's very tall. And so I said to him, don't tilt me so low. And I think when he went down, he couldn't see, like I blocked his view, and he missed the step and he just dropped me. And my neck hit the top stair. And he went flying, he actually dived over me into the lawn. I mean, both of us could have there broken our necks. It's
I
very
can tell
scary.
you.
It's funny. It's like a Leon Schuster movie in taking place. But if you acting that, it's not funny.
No,
Yeah.
I've been in several situations like that. And looking back now, it was extremely dangerous. You know, when there's stairs
Yeah.
involved, you go to a
Yeah.
place. I remember in Mozambique, for instance, we booked a place in Ponta Malangan, and they didn't tell us about the only way in is basically 40 stairs. So my friend
No.
every day had to take me up and down. And you can remember there was festivals and everyone had something to drink. And now at the end of the night, they have to get me up 40 stairs. So it's funny now,
You know,
but
lying on a mattress and pulling you up is better.
yeah, yeah. Well, but yeah, I guess the thing is be careful, but at the same time, you can't sit at home and do nothing. Sometimes situations will present itself where you need assistance. And you know,
No.
I can't, it's very difficult, but I think as you get older as well, you realize how dangerous that
Falling is the worst you can do.
well,
No.
Anna Marie, I think we only have a couple of minutes left. They're giving us a time limit. Is there anything else in terms of
Um,
wheelchairs that you can
I don't, okay, all that I can say is if you have any disability and it comes to the stage where you cannot, like me, bend to go in somewhere or whatever, climb on stuff, whatever, don't refuse any help or don't refuse any equipment. It's not your enemy. That thing, if you look after it, it will look after you and it helps. I'm telling you, I have a all in the centers with my wheelchair. Really, really,
No,
really.
I
So
agree. Anna Marie,
I can just say
I
all
think
of the best
and I
and
think
really feel free to contact us. I don't know
yes.
if you're going to leave a number or how we're going to leave a number. Yeah.
I think we're going to post this on the YouTube page, and in the YouTube
Okay.
page, they will have we'll post it on
Awesome.
Facebook, so they'll know to
Awesome.
contact the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation of South Africa. But
Yes.
just on that point, Anna Marie, I think you mentioned in the beginning that it's a state of mind, and just to explain to everyone how powerful the state of mind is.
Oh,
When I was walking around with one crutch, I was sort of feeling sorry for someone who was in a wheelchair and thinking, oh, that guy has it so bad. Then when I got into my first, what you call those scooters, you know, the scooters that you drive.
shop rider keys. Yeah.
Yes, when I drove around in that and I saw someone in a wheelchair, I thought, oh, shame, you know, this guy in a wheelchair.
Ah,
That's how powerful the mindset is that you put. If you break that mindset, and you realize, as you say,
awesome.
it's not your enemy. These things are there to help you enjoy your life. Then your whole
It's
life
just an extension of yourself. You're
exactly
not changing. You're actually
exactly.
becoming better. It's Oh, I cannot explain it to you. You get home, you're not even tired. Lots of times I would say, can we go walk here or there? Like, I'm not even walking. I don't get tired. So, oh, can we go walk? Or sometimes I'll tell the children, yes, this happened or that happened. And I ran down the passage, and Chris Marie, my daughter, would go, really, Ma? Like, did you run?
No,
Yeah,
that's
so
amazing. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie, and thank you for
what you put out is what you get back.
that is
Yeah.
exactly right. And thank you for your advice and your wisdom. You've got
Thank
many
you.
years of wisdom, and the community can learn from this. And yes, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
With friends like you on the other end, we can't go wrong.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
I
Marinus.
appreciate it. Same to you. Thank you so much.